When someone doesn't value you anymore, what if being undervalued isn't a reflection of your worth, but a test of your inner strength? Could silence and distance reveal more about your value than any words ever could? When someone no longer sees your light, is it time to dim yourself? Or to shine elsewhere more bright? When someone doesn't value you anymore, try this simple trick and watch what happens. This realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. In the teachings of Zen and Buddhist philosophy, it is said you are not obligated to remain where you are not cherished. A lotus does not bloom in a barren land. This wisdom, deeply rooted in understanding the impermanence of life and the value of self-respect, reminds us that attachment to situations or people who do not value us can lead to suffering. Have you ever felt invisible in someone's presence, as though your worth had diminished in their eyes? The sting of being undervalued is painful, yet it carries an invaluable. This realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Lesson: true worth is not defined by others, but recognized within. This is the story of a seeker who discovered the profound power of self-respect and detachment when faced with rejection. A seeker once lived in a serene environment surrounded by natural beauty. They devoted their life to helping others, offering their time, kindness, and wisdom without expecting much in return. However, over time they noticed something unsettling. Those who once sought their guidance now dismissed them. Their kindness was taken for granted, and this realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Presence seemed to lose its significance in the eyes of others. The seeker, perplexed and heartbroken, turned to their teacher for advice. The teacher, a master of Zen philosophy, listened patiently and then asked, "When you pour water into a cup that is already full, what happens? It overflows." The seeker replied, "Exactly," said the teacher, "you are pouring your energy and worth into a space that can no longer contain or appreciate it. The time has come to reclaim your essence and redirect it wisely." Recognizing your own worth, this realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. The master shared a tale to help the seeker understand the depth of their situation. Once a pearl of unparalleled beauty was discovered. People admired it for its perfection and clarity. Over time, however, it passed from one hand to another and its value was forgotten. It was treated as an ordinary stone, discarded and ignored. Did the pearl lose its worth, or did the people lose their ability to see its brilliance? The seeker understood the metaphor. They realized that their worth was not determined by how others perceived them, but by the intrinsic. This realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Value they carried within. The first step to regaining balance was to stop seeking validation from those who no longer valued them. The power of silence and distance. The master then advised, do not argue, do not plead, and do not seek explanations when someone does not value you. Step back in silence, observe without anger, detach without resentment. This is the trick. Let your absence speak louder than your presence. To test this teaching, the seeker withdrew from those who dismissed them. They stopped offering unsolicited. This realization leads to an important truth: that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Help ceased initiating conversations and focused on their own growth. At first, this was met with confusion. People wondered about the seeker's sudden change, but in their absence the seeker's value became apparent. Tasks once effortlessly handled by the seeker now became burdensome for others. The wisdom and kindness they had taken for granted were now missed. This moment of realization was not about revenge or vindication, but about balance, as the Master taught absence creates space for appreciation only when something is lost. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Do many realize its true value? Cultivating inner strength. During this period of silence and detachment, the seeker turned inward. They practiced meditation, mindfulness, reflecting on their emotions without judgment. The Master introduced them to the concept of an ATA, or non-self, which teaches that attachment to external validation creates unnecessary suffering. The seeker learned to let go of the need for approval. They repeated the mantra, "I am enough," not because others say so, but because I exist. Gradually the seeker's heart, once this realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Heavy with rejection, grew lighter. They began to see their worth as unshakable and independent of external circumstances. As weeks passed, the people who had undervalued the seeker started noticing their absence. They began to reflect on their own behavior and realized how much the seeker had contributed to their lives. Some approached with genuine apologies, while others remained distant, bound by their egos. The Master reminded the seeker, not everyone will acknowledge your worth even after you withdraw. This is not your burden. To this realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. What matters is that you have reclaimed your peace and self-respect. For those who returned with sincerity, the seeker welcomed them with compassion, but with a newfound clarity they set boundaries to ensure their worth was never overlooked again. For those who did not return, the seeker let them go without bitterness, embracing impermanence. In their journey, the seeker learned one of the most profound truths of Zen philosophy: impermanence. Just as the seasons change, so do relationships. Clinging to what no longer. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Serves us only prolongs suffering. The Master concluded with a parable. There was once a tree that bore sweet fruits. People came to enjoy its shade and nourishment, but over time some grew careless, carrying their names into its bark, breaking its branches. The tree, however, stood tall, silently offering what it could. When the time came for it to shed its leaves, it did so gracefully, knowing that new growth awaited. Be like the tree, offer your best without expectation, and when it is time to let go, do so with grace. The seeker's newfound peace did. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Not just change how others viewed them, it reshaped their entire existence. As they focused on their own growth, they began to attract relationships and opportunities that resonated with their true self. The Master often reminded them, what you nurture within reflects outward. When you Honor your own worth. The world mirrors it back to you. The seeker began to understand that being undervalued was not a curse but a teacher. It revealed areas where they had compromised their dignity for the sake of harmony. By addressing this imbalance, this realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. They unlocked a higher state of being, one where their energy was no longer wasted on those who dismissed it but cultivated within themselves and shared with those who cherished it, expanding the wisdom. A lesson for others. As the seeker grew in wisdom, others began seeking their guidance. They wanted to know the secret to radiating such calmness and self-assurance. The seeker shared their story but always emphasized this is not about teaching others to value you, it's about valuing yourself enough to walk away when they. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Don't. One day a student asked, but what if I love those who undervalue me? What if I cannot bear to let them go? The seeker replied, love is not meant to chain you to suffering. True love, even for others, must start with love for yourself. To love yourself is to refuse to remain in a space where your worth is diminished. It does not mean you stop loving them, it means you choose to love them from a distance that protects your peace. The ultimate realization, freedom in detachment. With time, the seeker realized that letting go was not merely a trick. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. To regain value in the eyes of others, it was a path to freedom. When you release the need for validation, you step into a life of authenticity. The master explained it beautifully. Imagine carrying a lantern through the darkness. If someone refuses the light you offer, do you extinguish it or do you carry it forward, illuminating the path for yourself and others who are willing to walk with you? This metaphor became a cornerstone of the seeker's life. They no longer sought to convince others of their worth, instead they chose to shine. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Knowing that those meant to walk alongside them would find their way to the light. The harmony of acceptance and boundaries. Through these teachings, the seeker embraced the balance between compassion and boundaries. They understood that kindness did not mean enduring disrespect. Compassion could coexist with strength, and forgiveness did not require proximity for those who undervalued them but later sought reconciliation. The seeker offered forgiveness but maintained clear boundaries. They no longer sought to overextend themselves to prove their. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Worth. Instead, they let their actions and energy speak for themselves. The circle of self-worth. One evening, the master asked the seeker to observe a pond. They watched as the ripples from a single pebble spread across the water's surface, touching every corner of the pond. Your journey is like this ripple. The master said, by valuing yourself you send waves of respect and balance into the world. Those ripples reach others, inspiring them to do the same. But remember, the ripple starts at the center with you. This realization filled the seeker. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. With gratitude, they no longer viewed their experiences of rejection as misfortunes but as blessings that had led them to a deeper understanding of themselves and life, living the truth, a life of quiet confidence. The seeker. Transformation was not a loud proclamation but a quiet, steadfast presence. They walked through life with grace, no longer clinging to those who did not value them but instead radiating a confidence that naturally drew others toward them in moments of doubt. They remembered the Master's parting words. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. The lust does not beg for attention, it blooms in its own time, in its own way. Be like the lotus. And so the seeker lived a life of self-respect, peace, and an authenticity, proving that when someone doesn't value you, the greatest response is not to convince them otherwise but to value yourself even more. In the end, the story of the seeker is not just a tale of rejection but a journey of awakening. It teaches us that our worth is never diminished by others' inability to see it. Instead, every moment of undervaluation is an opportunity to. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. Rediscover our inner strength, recalibrate our focus, and reclaim our peace. When someone doesn't value you anymore, try this simple trick. Step back, turn inward, and watch as the universe responds. You may lose certain connections, but you will gain something far greater, yourself. As Zen wisdom concludes, in losing what you thought you needed, you find what you truly are. This is the path to freedom, the power of self-worth, and the ultimate lesson in valuing yourself. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, for this realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect. More content like this, just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. This realization leads to an important truth, that your energy must be preserved for places where it is seen, valued, and returned with respect.